How does the Titans signing of DeAndre Hopkins change the landscape for the AFC playoff picture? That's what we're going to tackle here today. Welcome in to Rogue Football. I am your host, Jordan DeLugo. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're enjoying the content here on the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. Smash the notification bell so you don't miss a show on here. Really appreciate your support. So, how does the signing of DeAndre Hopkins impact the Titans' offense and in turn impact their chances to make the playoffs in the loaded AFC in 2023? Let's dive into it. Looking at DeAndre Hopkins, he obviously had the suspension last year, missed 6 games due to that, missed the last 2 games of the regular season as well with injuries. The year prior, he missed some time with injury, so you've now got a couple years in a row where DeAndre Hopkins was not on the field a ton. You know, last year he only participated in 9 games for the Arizona Cardinals. The year before, only 10 games. But prior to that, I mean, this was a guy that did not miss football games. He played in at least 15 games in every season of his career prior to 2021. Again, in 2021, only played in 10 games. Last year had the suspension, had the injury at the end of the year, only played in 9 games. Now, when he was on the field last year, still averaged 80 yards per game as a receiver, and an Arizona Cardinals offense that was fairly inept and on a team that was clearly going off the rails. So I don't think you look at DeAndre Hopkins, if he's healthy, as a guy who has lost a ton in terms of value that he can bring to your football team. But I do think you have to talk about this and bring up, will he stay healthy? You have seen other former star receivers end up in Tennessee late in their career, and it hasn't gone well for most of them. Now, do I think DeAndre Hopkins is as injury prone as like a Julio Jones, or is he washed like, Randy Moss and Andre Johnson maybe were when they got there? I don't. I personally think it is a different situation than any of those, but he has missed time over the last 2 years. You cannot deny that. I do believe that he has the ability at 31. He just turned 31 this summer. I think he still has good years left in the tank. We'll see how it plays out, but assuming health for DeAndre Hopkins and for the Titans as a whole, because looking at the Titans in 2021, they made the playoffs despite being the most injured team of all time. In 2022, they were right there, in terms of having to field, I think 85 plus players last year, with all the injuries that they had. So this has been a team that has not had injury luck over the last couple seasons. Will that flip in 2023? We'll have to wait and see. There's no way to really know that answer, but you would think they would regress to the mean a little bit in terms of the injury front. And so when you look at this team fully healthy, I think Ryan Tannehill in this offense is still a quality quarterback. And yes, Tim Kelly is taking over as the offensive coordinator. He was on staff last year. He was the offensive coordinator in Houston the year prior, ran more pro-style spread concepts than the Shanahan outside zone play action stuff. But I think having been on staff last year, he's not going to completely remake what this offense is about, which it is about that outside zone, getting Derrick Henry on the outside, rolling over linebackers, safeties, corners, whoever it may be that's in his way, building up a head of steam and picking up a ton of yards. That's what this offense is all about. And then Ryan Tannehill on the play action, on the boots, all that fun stuff. Still an accurate quarterback, still an efficient quarterback, a quarterback who has won a lot of games under Mike Vrabel, who is a head coach that has had this team in position to either make the playoffs or be right in the thick of it at the end of every season that he's coached these guys. So I don't think the Titans are just going to roll over, as a lot of folks have kind of projected them going into 2023. I don't think they're going to be a bottom 5 team in the league this year. I think that they are one of the few teams in the AFC, one of the several teams, I should say, that have a legitimate chance at making a 5, 6, 7 seed in the AFC. And now would I put them at 5? Probably not. Probably not at 6 either. But I do think they have a shot to make the 7 seed. But there's a whole bunch of teams that I think when you look at them, they have a shot to make the 7 seed. How does DeAndre Hopkins help them in that regard? Well, for me, he obviously takes pressure off of Treylon Burks, off of Kyle Phillips, off of Chigo Okonkwo. All these young receivers that the Titans have that have talent that can make an impact for them, they now have a veteran in the room that can really take over and be a go-to receiver when he's on the football field. Again, assuming his health. So is he going to be an X for them? I don't know. Do I think it really matters Probably not. Like, Treylon Burks has the size, the physicality to play X for you if you want DeAndre Hopkins at Z. Kyle Phillips obviously playing the slot. Chigo Okonkwo playing at tight end. You've got Derrick Henry in the backfield. You've got Tyjae Spears in the backfield. I think you have an offensive line that looks better than it did last year. Obviously, you brought over Andre Dillard, who's going to be an improvement from what they had in 2022. You obviously brought in Peter Skoronski in the draft, who I think is going to massively upgrade what they have there. And so I think you start to see some of the pieces coming together on the offensive line that certainly is being rebuilt. But the offensive line was in shambles last year, and they were still competing down the stretch, despite all the injuries. So I think DeAndre Hopkins just brings some stability to the offense. I think he brings a reliable set of hands to the offense, a guy that can go up and get the 50-50 balls, a guy you can feel comfortable with throwing the football on third down when you need it. He's not DeAndre Hopkins of 3 or 4 years ago, but still the best receiver on the Titans by a wide margin. And having him in that room with Treylon Burks, with Kyle Phillips, with Nick Westbrook-Akina, some of the other guys, I think that they're going to benefit from DeAndre Hopkins being there in a big way, simply by being able to watch him, what he does on the football field, how he works. DeAndre Hopkins is going to help this offense, and it's going to take some attention away from Derrick Henry in the running game, right? You have Henry, you have Tyjae Spears, who's an explosive young runner they brought in the draft. Ryan Tannehill, obviously not a big-time runner at this point in his career, but still has some wheels as well, a former wide receiver at Texas A&M. I think this offense is going to have more multiplicity with DeAndre Hopkins in the fold. I think they're going to have a guy who they can really rely on in the big moments, more so than anyone else they have. And they're just going to not be able to, they're not going to be as easy to peg for defenses. And you look at their defense on that side of the ball, Mike Vrabel has those guys rolling, in my opinion. They're going to be a really tough defense to handle in 2023. With the depth up front that they have, really good linebacker play, in my opinion, as well. And then I think that the secondary play will improve this year with another year of experience for some of those young corners. Obviously, Kevin Byard and Amani Hooker, excellent safety duo. So for me, looking at the Titans, I think that this is a big move in the AFC. I think it's a move that helps a team that is a contender for a playoff spot, not a contender to win the conference, but a contender for a playoff spot, got even better. And so for me, looking at them, I think they're one of several teams that could really be fighting for a 6 or 7 seed. And when I say several, I mean many, right? The Ravens, Chargers, Dolphins, Broncos, Titans, Steelers, Browns, and Titans, I think, are all going to be jostling and fighting for 6 and 7 seeds. And some of it's going to matter, who stays healthy, who is able to overcome some of the injuries that they're going to have to face in 2023. But I think all those teams are going to be right in the thick of it. Mike Vrabel, this head coach, with this collection of offensive talent, catalyst is Derrick Henry, and that defense, I think that they're going to have a shot at making a 7 seed. I don't see them as a bottom-tier team in the league this year, as a lot of folks do. DeAndre Hopkins in Tennessee, is it going to end up looking like Andre Johnson, Randy Moss, Julio Jones? Or is it going to be a positive outcome for DeAndre Hopkins? A couple seasons here for the Titans that he can feel proud about at the end of his career. We'll see how it plays out. But I do know when DeAndre Hopkins is healthy and on the field, he is still a starting wide receiver in this league. Still a very good starting wide receiver. We'll see how it all plays out. But thank you so much for tuning in. Hit me up on Twitter at Jordan DeLugo. Again, if you enjoy the content, please hit the like and subscribe button, notification bell so you don't miss a show. Have a good one.